Paint time. Hi, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude and part number 5 of the Tamiya 1/48 scale F-51D Mustang project. Alright, the black is down. However, having not used this particular product before, I didn't really. Normally when I use a gloss undercoat, the ones I've used in the past, I pretty well just hose it on there, let it self-level. In this case, with Mission models, it's recommended that normally you do a tack coat and then do a heavy coat. Well, all that did was give me a pebbly texture. So I have to remember that for the future. So what I'm doing is using these, I can't remember the brand of them. They're sanding pads, but they're really fine. And basically I'm just putting some water on here and doing a wet dry kind of sanding job. And it's fine enough that if there's any surface detail like rivets and see here how horrible that sounds. It won't take down the detail. You know, it won't mess up the panel line detail or anything like that. So that is what I'm doing. And then I'll just wipe it with a paper towel, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna have to wipe it down really good. So just trying to make it smoother, and it's a lot smoother. So what I'm gonna do the whole thing with this 3200 grit, then I'll work my way up to some finer grits to get really smooth, because doing a metal finish, you really run a risk of exposing every little flaw. So I'm just going to continue doing this, and when I get it all done, I will come back and see what we got, and see if I'll determine if it's ready for the paint layer. All right, so next I am going to start on the actual paint, and for that I am using first Vallejo acrylic metal color, airbrush colors, silver. And the reason I'm using silver and not something a little bit brighter is because I'm going to do the wings first. Because on P-51 wings, they were painted, they weren't bare metal. The factory would fill in these panel lines and any surface irregularities with putty. They would prime it and they would paint it with a cellulose lacquer high-speed silver, I believe is what it was. And that was supposed to decrease drag and increase speed and efficiency of the aerodynamics. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not filling in the stuff because this is a beginner's model and I don't want to get, you know, into all of that. But suffice to say, I'm going to use this. I've used this brand of paint before and it works really well. So I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the wings first, and then I'll be taping everything off and spraying the rest of it in metal finish. But let's do the wings first and I'll come back. Okay, so to tape this off, in looking at my references, I need to tape off the wings here and here, and I need to tape off the wings here leave the flaps and the ailerons exposed and get those painted up. So to do that, I'm going to be using my Tamiya tape. So let's see if I can get this thing taped up. I'll demonstrate a little bit of it, but I'm going to do most of it. Most of it off camera because I don't want to get my head in the way. So just using the old tape. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, see, this is going to be hard to do this. I get my head in the way, so. I'll basically just line it up. I'll cut the edge here to where I can, get it down in this corner here and just go along the edge. So here's what I do here. I cut the tape at an angle so I can get that point right down into that corner. It's, because this is an odd angle, it's not 90 degrees. Then I cut the other one the same way and run it parallel to that, filling in that portion there. This part here I wrapped around a little bit, and then I'll put another piece to cover that. And then I should be able to get it all taped off like that. And then this piece here, dropping it down a little bit, and to compensate for the actuators, I'll go right up against the edge like that. Use my tweezers to burnish it down. Like that. Now, a lot of people will complain about some metallics not being able to handle tape, and I hope I don't regret saying this, but I have not had any problems with the Vallejo metallics. They work really well, so fear not. For those that like to that would like to paint a naked metal finish, because you can do it with this stuff. So something else that I'm doing here is I want to paint the gear bay doors aluminum instead of silver. So I am cutting out around those, and I'll tape the rest of it. I'm just using a very sharp knife, new blade, and just using the seam where they come together as my template, and just carefully cutting them and lifting the tape off. The hard part, well, I shouldn't say the hard part, the more challenging part is to cut those curves, but it's not that hard. It just takes, like I said, a sharp knife and some patience. Actually, I could save myself some time and take those off and just tape completely over them. I think that's what I'm going to do. Might be a little easier than trying to cut all that out. So I'll just pull those out like that and just tape over the openings. There it is, ready to paint. So just as a reminder, I'm using Vallejo acrylic metal color aluminum. All right, so I got all the aluminum painted, so now I can peel this stuff off. All right, so I got the tape peeled off, and I gotta say that I'm not very stoked because, as you can see, it peeled this up. There, and on this leading edge here and here. Now, I could have done something wrong, I don't know, but I did clean the aircraft off really well with alcohol before I put the undercoat on. And the undercoat, it's not like the other Mission Models paints that you use either the poly to make it tougher or primer, which binds it and all this kind of stuff, or thinner, I should say. But yeah, not very stoked with that. So in the future, I won't be using that again. In the future, I will be using Vallejo's gloss. I've used that countless times on models that I wasn't near as careful with, and it did not peel up when peeling up the masking tape. So yeah, just not very stoked. But anyway, I'm going to get some silver out. I'm going to repaint those edges, and then I also need to paint the base plate of the nose here. So I'm going to do that. All right, so it's all touched up, so I'll let that dry. And then I can move on to painting some of the individual parts. All right, let's take a look at the spinner here. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm stoked with that. That looks good. All right, so that is done. So the next thing I need to do is I need to paint the prop blades, and I need to paint the wheels. So the wheels I'm going to be painting I'm going to use Mission Models Tire Black, and for the prop blades I'm just going to use black. So let me get the whoops, let me get the wheels painted first, and yeah, then we can move on to the blades. Okay, with those the wheels painted, before I paint the prop blades, I want to get this taken care of, and that is the olive drab anti-glare portion of the cowling. So looking at the illustration here, calls out for olive drab, and looks like it's pretty much a straight line from about right in here. It's above this right here, so it's about right there, and then it pretty much just goes straight back to the back of this bit of aluminum here underneath the windscreen. So to do that, I'm going to use my handy dandy tape here and hope it doesn't pull any of the silver off whenever I take it off. So let's get a piece here. think what I'm going to do, I've never really had to do it before, but obviously it's become a problem. I'm going to have to detack this some, and by that I mean just sticking it on my hand here and getting some of the stickiness off. So let's see, let's go. I'm going to go, I don't know if it's exactly right, but I need a point of reference, so I'm going to use this little fastener right here. And I'm going to, whoops, I'm going to put it right there. And run it straight back to the corner right there where the canopy frame meets the fuselage. Push it down. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a skinnier piece of tape because this is causing the tape to go kind of up in an angle, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my narrow tape, 6mm, and see if this will work just as the initial tape line. If not, then I'll cut it even narrower. Don't like that. So let us do this. Sometimes it's a matter of experimentation. So I'm going to use this, I think this is 2mm, might be 3, yeah, 3mm vinyl tape, which curves really well. Because I'm going to have to bend it down because I don't want that upward curve, because that's just not the way it looks in the real lives. So cut a piece of that off. And put it on there like that. And let's see. And that looks a little better. That looks pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty good. So what I need to do now is I need to cover everything up so I don't get a bunch of paint on everything else. So okay, this is ready to paint. I've got it taped off lightly, just enough so I can spray this front part here. So for that, I'm going to use Mission Models MMP 025 U.S. Army Olive Drab FS 34088. Back soon. All right, there's what it looks like. So I'm pretty stoked with that. So next, okay, next up, I need to tape off the tail section here on the vertical stabilizer rudder area. This part up here is blue, so I need to tape it off, and then I have to find a blue that matches this right here, because the decal instructions for this particular marking option says match blue to blue swatch on decal sheet. So I've got to look through my paints and find something that color. First, let us tape this thing off. So what I'm going to do here, because the paint line, judging from the let's see here. It pretty much lines up with the top of this trim tab actuator. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to notch out my tape around that, and then after I paint it, you know, get it painted blue, it's obviously going to paint this blue, but I'll come back and just use a brush, just a paintbrush, and repaint that the aluminum color. Because if I try and tape over it, it may not lay flat enough, and I could end up with a little bit of overspray that I'd have to touch up anyway, so I might as well just do it this way. That way I can just touch up that actuator and not have to worry about how even it looks. Now I'm taping it really high right here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the notch out of another piece of tape. I'm going to use that as my guideline to make sure it's, you know, level, and then the other side, all I have to do is just match it up. So cut this out like this, and then I'm going to get my handy little, you know what, I don't need that. Yeah, I do. Let's see. That little actuator bit there is about 7 millimeters long. So I need to, you know, I already have some of this cut. So I'm going to use this, use a piece of this. Now, I don't know if I've talked about this yet in this video, but this is, as you can see, Infinity Easy Cutting Type A cutting mat. And you can use this to cut like really thin strips for masking or whatever, and it works really good. And if you don't have one, well, it doesn't matter, you're still cool anyway. But you know, if you find yourself cutting a lot of thin bits for masking and details and stuff like that, this is a good way to go, because it really does a good job. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I've got it notched out. So now it's just a matter of lining it up and hoping that it's notched out enough to fit where I want it. Oh, splendid. Right there, just like that. Man, I cut that just right. So then I can tear this off here and turn this around this way. Then all I have to do is line this up here. Nope. So if this starts becoming laborious, I will do it off camera so as not to... Oh, there it is. So then what I like to do in a case like this, burnish it down a little bit, and then I use my tweezers, pinch it where it comes together to get it as tight as possible. Now I may have to do a little bit of touch up, but shouldn't be too bad. All right, so there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put some more tape on the horizontal stabilizers and around the front, bottom of the rudder, all that, get it isolated, and then I can paint it blue. So when I come back, it all goes according to plan. It will be blue, and I will be stoked. Okay, here it is. It's painted on there. I'm gonna let it dry for a little bit, and then I will peel the tape off. But the colors I used were Mission Models MMP048 blue, 3 drops of that, and 1 drop of Mission Models MMP001 white. And that gave me a pretty good approximation of the color. And gotta say, I'm really stoked with the way it looks. So let me get that tape peeled off, and then we can move on to the next masking project. All right, there's what it looks like. I'm pretty stoked. So once this cures for a day or two, I will paint that part silver, and should be good. So the next part I need to do is I need to tape off for the invasion stripes. So I've got them on the fuselage, and I have them on the wings. So the thing is, though, this is a little bit different than invasion stripes normally, and maybe I'm calling these invasion stripes and I shouldn't be. These are just black bands here and here, and then black bands on the wings. Bad Angel has the black stripes on the outboard of the machine guns, and stripes around the fuselage here. So this should be pretty easy to do. And so I'm going to cut up some tape, and yeah, get this business done. Okay, so I did some I used an online calculator and discovered that 24 inches in 1/48 scale would be ½ an inch. So these have to be ½ an inch. So I need to cut some tape into ½ inch strips, and then I can start taping this thing off. So for that, I'm going to be using this and this. Okay, now that it's all taped up and ready to go, I can spray the black, and for that I'm going to use Mission Models MMP047 black. And no, this isn't the same black that I used as a base. This is the black paint, so I shouldn't have a problem with it. And I didn't show the tape procedure because it was something. Basically what I did is I made ½ inch strips, and I made my straight edge for the first edge of the black, put a ½ inch strip here, put my next strip that needed to be taped off, peeled that off, and repeated the process. Same thing on the wings. So it's time consuming, but it is worth the effort. in the end. So I am going to paint this and then come back. All right, here it is painted. Now it's time to start peeling the tape off. And hope none of the undercoat comes off. Which I know it already did up here somewhere, but it's something I can touch up. All right, here it is. And I did have a little bit of paint lift. Here and here. This one, it'll be easy to take care of and kind of hide it, but this one's a little bit more prominent. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to tape along this edge here, protect all this here, and just spray over that, and it's just going to have to do. I'm just really disappointed in that in this gloss black stuff here. I just not very stoked with it, you know. And I mean I could have missed some spots when I was cleaning it, like down there maybe, but up here, you know, I got this thing cleaned really well with alcohol, and so I'm pretty sure the surface was clean, but who knows. Lesson learned though. In the future I'm going to be using more a little more stronger undercoats, more like lacquer based stuff, and then use acrylics on top of it. But yeah, kinda bummed, but hey, that happens. So I think that, with the exception of that right there, that will finish the painting part of this. So I'm gonna let this cure up for quite a while, and then I'll put some tape on it and give it a quick shot of aluminum, and then I'll be ready to peel off the rest of this masking. Okay, so I got the messed up stuff fixed, and it actually turned out pretty good. So the next thing I need to do is I need to mask off, let's see, these panels here all the way around the exhaust. I need to mask those off, and I need to spray them a different color. In this case I'm going to use steel, because I'm pretty sure it was stainless steel they used on these areas around the exhaust because of the high heat, and to keep it from destroying the aluminum around there. So I'm going to tape those off on either side and paint those silver, not silver, but steel, using Vallejo acrylic metal color steel. Okay, so I got this painted, and I did not use just the steel. I mixed the steel with silver to lighten it up a little bit. The steel was just too dark, so I made up a mix here to where it's not quite so stark. Still kind of darkish looking, but that looks pretty dark. I may have to lighten that up. All right, so I got this done, and I like the color a lot better since I lightened it up quite a bit. So that's done. So now I need to spray the tips of the propeller blades, and what I'm going to do first is hit it with white, and then I'll do yellow over top of that. And for the white and the yellow, I'll be using Mission models. For the white, 001, and for the yellow, 007. All right, so the propeller blade tips are finished. I'm going to let those dry before I try and assemble all that. And in the meantime, I am going to do some detail painting. First, I'm going to do the machine gun barrels, And for that, I am going to use good old NATO black in the Vallejo Model Air line. Excuse me. I'm using my Tamiya modeling brush HG, which is one of my new favorite brushes for doing detail painting. I'll start painting these. And that is that. So now I can move on to the exhaust. Okay, for the exhaust, I'm going to use leather brown first to give it a base. And then I will hit it up with some lighter tan and buff colors just to make it look like, you know, well-used exhaust. So let's see, let's find a brush here. So here we go. And you may be thinking, wow, that's a huge brush to be doing detail painting. Well, it's got a good point on it, and it holds a good amount of paint. Excuse me, my throat is just clogged up. But there you have it. Cool. All right, while the exhaust dries, quick note here, I got the silver painted on, or the aluminum painted here where that actuator was that I had painted blue, just to make the painting a little bit easier. And I noticed there's a little bit of a little tiny bit of blue still right there, so I'm going to hit that with a brush, because I use my airbrush to spray that. But let's see here. There we go. Cool. Yeah, it was easier. I figured it'd be easier just to tape it off and spray it than it would be to try and hit it up with this little teeny tiny brush. Could have done it, but quick swipe of the tape, and I was painting some other stuff at the same time, so I thought, hey, I'll just paint that too. Efficiency is the key. So with that in mind, let's peel this off and hope no paint comes with it. Oh, there we go. Splendid. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of the detail painting on the airframe, except for these lights, and I'll be doing those pretty late in the game. So I'm going to peel the tape off of my props from spraying the yellow tips, and then I can glue these into the spinner, and that will be ready to go. And then it's just a matter of gluing these into the spinner. So for that, I think I'm going to use this cement here, because I can get just a little bit where I want it. Right there. And you can't get them upside down because it's got kind of a half moon shaped cut in it that fits on the inside like that. like that. Yeah, let go. And like that. And like that. All right, prop is done. All right, so I got those painted. Got the machine guns painted. Got the prop assembled, and yeah. So with that, I think I am ready to move on to decals. So I'm going to do that in the next video. So thanks for watching part 5 of the Tamiya 1/48 scale P-51D project. So the next time in part 6, when I come back, whoa, after I put it back on the stand, I will work on the decals, and I'll get to use these wonderful aftermarket super scale international decals. So if you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this video and you want to watch more of my build videos and such, and follow along with the rest of this series, or maybe see the previous installments, hit the subscribe button. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching Plastic Models by Regular Dude, and as always, I will see you all later.